In the quiet town of Speedway, Indiana, where evenings usually unfolded in a familiar rhythm, an unsuspecting Friday night in November 1978 bore witness to an unimaginable upheaval. What began as a routine closure at the local Burger Chef restaurant swiftly descended into a chilling saga that would forever etch its mark on the community's history. Within the span of mere hours, the fabric of normalcy was torn asunder, leaving behind a palpable sense of unease that still lingers in the town's collective memory. This is the story of the Burger Chef murders, a chilling enigma that leaves unanswered questions lingering in the night air. On the night of November 17, 1978, sometime between 11 p.m. and midnight, the Burger Chef restaurant at 5725 Crawfordsville Road became a stage for a chilling crime. 4 Burger Chef employees, Jane Freet, a 20-year-old assistant manager, Daniel Davis and Mark Flemons, both 16 years old, and Ruth Ellen Shelton, 18 years old at the time, vanished into the night, leaving behind a void of uncertainty. As the clock struck midnight, a fellow employee's visit to the restaurant uncovered an unsettling scene: an empty establishment, a gaping safe, and ajar back doors, painting a picture of an unsettling departure. Police would later discover 2 barren currency bags and an expended roll of adhesive tape beside the open safe, serving as eerie remnants of an unusual disruption in the normal end of the night duties, some type of disruption that stretched far beyond a routine closure. The ominous emptiness of the deserted eatery, coupled with the disarray left in its wake, served as haunting testament to the abrupt departure of the 4 restaurant employees. As police continued to search the scene, each detail whispered a tale of intrusion and chaos, leaving investigators grappling with the chilling mystery of their inexplicable disappearance. However, even with the evidence to the contrary, law enforcement initially brushed aside the gravity of the situation. With the reported loss of a seemingly modest sum, approximately $581 in cash, equivalent to $3,000 in 2024 from the safe, and the absence of evident struggle, the incident was hastily relegated to the realm of petty theft. The prevailing assumption suggested that the missing funds had been pocketed by the youths for a night of revelry. Curiously, amidst this perplexing puzzle, registers remained heavy, with over $100 in coins left in the registers, a stark contrast to the vanished cash. Even as the purses and jackets of the absent women remained at the scene, indicating an abrupt departure, the belief in a theft scenario persisted. Under this guise of a presumed theft by the youths, the scene was tidied by employees early on that Saturday morning in November 1978, unaware of the ominous shadows that were lurking beneath the surface. This dismissal of the true gravity of events set the stage for a narrative that would soon unravel into a far darker and unfathomable truth. The realization of errors dawned too late, as Buddy Ellwanger, a Speedway police officer assigned to the case, openly acknowledged the grave missteps in handling the unfolding tragedy. Admitting, "We screwed it up from the beginning," his candid assessment painted a bleak picture of missed opportunities and oversights. The critical crime scene, the Burger Chef restaurant, was not only cleaned but also reopened without being properly documented. A crucial misstep in law enforcement protocol, no photographs were taken before the scene was disturbed, served as a devastating blow, erasing any potential evidence that could have shed light on the chilling events of that fateful night. As morning broke without the return of the 4 employees and the discovery of Jane Freet's partially locked Chevrolet Vega in town, alarm bells rang louder. The disturbing puzzle began to take shape, indicating a nefarious abduction. It appeared that the youths, while closing the restaurant, fell prey to an ambush, potentially as they carried out routine tasks like disposing of trash bags through the back door, an ordinary act that morphed into a sinister prelude to tragedy. The grim discovery by hikers on that Sunday afternoon, over 20 miles away in a remote wooded expanse of Johnson County, revealed the ghastly conclusion to the harrowing disappearance. Amidst the tranquility of nature lay the bodies of all 4 employees working that night at Burger Chef. their final resting place shrouded in tragedy and horror. The manner in which the perpetrators unleashed their malevolence upon the victims echoed the depth of their depravity. Daniel Davis and Ruth Ellen Shelton bore the brutal marks of a firearm, their bodies bearing the weight of numerous gunshot wounds, a haunting testament to the callousness of the act. For Jane Freet, the cruelty took the form of a stabbing, her life extinguished by 2 savage thrusts to the chest. The chilling detail of the broken knife handle, missing until recovered during autopsy, added an eerie layer to the grim narrative. Mark Flemons suffered a fate equally gruesome, a savage bludgeoning, potentially inflicted by a chain, leading to a fatal demise as he choked on his own blood. The horrifying brutality of the murders, each victim still clad in their burger chef uniforms, defied comprehension. The presence of money and watches on the deceased victims cast a shadow of doubt on the assumption that robbery served as the sole motive behind the heinous act. The crime scene hinted at a depth of evil that went beyond mere theft, leaving behind a chilling riddle that defied rational explanation. The prevailing theory woven by investigators unveils a chilling narrative of a botched robbery, culminating in the devastating abduction and murders of the 4 victims. A haunting possibility emerged, suggesting that recognition, potentially by one of the victims, triggered the tragic turn of events, shattering the tranquility of that fateful night. Mark Flemons' unforeseen presence that evening, covering a shift for a colleague, emerged as a pivotal clue. Investigators surmised that his unexpected appearance might have caught the attention of the perpetrators, potentially leading to their recognition and subsequent descent into violence. An eyewitness, merely 16 years old at the time, emerged as a glimpse into the darkness of that night. Their account revealed 2 suspicious men lurking in a car outside the Burger Chef just before closing. Descriptions painted a picture of both men, white in their 30s, one with a beard, the other clean-shaven, boasting light-colored hair. This haunting visual led authorities to create clay models of the suspects in a desperate bid to crack the case. The spectral presence of these potential culprits, their faces etched in clay, hovered as an unsettling reminder of the elusive perpetrators still at large. The investigation teetered on the precipice of resolution, haunted by the unanswered questions lingering within the shadows of that tragic night. The chilling revelation from a man in a Greenwood bar, boasting of involvement in the Burger Chef murders, cast a brief but intense spotlight on the investigation. Prompted by his claims, authorities swiftly questioned him, deploying a polygraph to discern the truth. However, the unsettling narrative took a frustrating turn when the man purportedly passed the polygraph, denying any involvement in the heinous crimes. Lacking substantial evidence beyond his claim, law enforcement found themselves handcuffed, unable to press charges or substantiate the allegations. Nevertheless, the man's assertions didn't fade into the night. He offered a breadcrumb trail, providing names of others allegedly affiliated with a fast food robbery gang, a tantalizing lead for investigators. Suspicions swirled around this group, raising the possibility of their involvement in the haunting events that had rocked the community. Despite this intriguing yet inconclusive lead, the darkness of uncertainty persisted. The thin line between revelation and frustration haunted the ongoing investigation, leaving the truth obscured and justice agonizingly out of reach. The labyrinthine path of the investigation took a compelling turn when officers in Franklin stumbled upon a man resembling the earlier description that the 16-year-old had described to the sketch artist, the bearded man. As fate would have it, this potential suspect altered his appearance, shaving the beard he had sported for the past 5 years just before a lineup appearance, an action that raised eyebrows and stirred suspicion. As the scrutiny widened to include associates named by the Greenwood suspect, one individual found himself incarcerated for armed robbery. Another associate, fitting the description of the fair-haired man, similarly landed behind bars for armed robberies of fast food establishments, a series of events that hinted at a web of criminal activity. Yet despite these connections and the offers of plea deals for information leading to the arrest of the killer or killers, the investigation stumbled at the threshold of resolution. Confessions remained elusive, and the absence of direct physical evidence linking any of the suspects to the grisly crime scene thwarted law enforcement's efforts to bring closure. The dance between potential leads and the harsh reality of insufficient evidence held the case in a vice grip, denying justice and perpetuating the haunting mystery surrounding the tragic events. The shadow of fear and uncertainty loomed large over Speedway, Indiana, as another string of shocking crimes sent tremors through the town. Speculation swirled, weaving threads of connection between the Burger Chef murders and the other recent harrowing incidents, most notably the tragic murder of Julia Shivers and the chilling Speedway bombings that had rattled the community. However, as the relentless pursuit of truth pressed on, the threads of connection between these cases began to unravel. Through meticulous investigation and scrutiny, authorities eventually uncovered that the tragic fates of Julia Shivers, the Speedway bombings, and the Burger Chef murders existed as separate, unrelated chapters in the town's dark narrative. The specter of a single mastermind orchestrating these horrors dissolved, freeing each case to stand alone in its devastating impact on the community. The extensive pursuit of justice continued to lead investigators on a relentless journey spanning multiple cities: Cincinnati, Milwaukee, Chicago, Dallas, following trails of potential suspects in a desperate quest for answers. Despite their exhaustive efforts, the trail grew cold, the elusive evidence crucial to cracking the case remaining frustratingly out of reach. The pivotal pieces of evidence, a firearm, the missing handle of the knife, and the elusive chain believed to have been used in the murders, remained elusive, evading discovery and denying closure to the investigation. Suspects remained steadfast in their silence, offering no confessions that could unlock the haunting secrets surrounding the tragic events. However, a chilling revelation emerged from the son of the bearded suspect. He recounted his father's alleged confession, shedding a glimmer of light on the dark shadows enveloping the case. Yet this revelation remained unverified and unanswered, as the suspect himself had passed away prior to divulging more to the authorities. Suspicion lingered in the aftermath of subsequent deaths, of the Greenwood suspect and the bearded suspect, raising eyebrows with the uncanny timing of their demise. Detective York, one of the original investigators in the case, has noted that they both died suspiciously close after the release of the armed robber named by the Greenwood suspect. A turn of events in 1984 brought a startling revelation to Detective Mel Wilsey of the Marion County Sheriff's Department when he received an unexpected call from Donald Forrester, an inmate seeking to alter his fate by confessing to a chilling involvement in the Burger Chef murders. Forrester, facing an impending transfer to a notoriously violent state prison, offered a chilling bargain. He would confess to his role in the murders to avoid the grim fate awaiting him. Wilsey swiftly obtained a court order, orchestrating Forrester's transfer to Marion County, where the inmate proceeded to deliver a bone-chilling confession. Forrester recounted his direct involvement in the deaths of Daniel Davis and Ruth Ellen Shelton, claiming responsibility for their tragic deaths. His knowledge proved disturbingly accurate as he led authorities to the wooded crime scene, detailing the precise location and position of the bodies, details not widely publicized. Furthermore, his awareness of the broken handle of the knife added a disquieting layer of credibility to his confession. According to Forrester's chilling account, the catalyst for the harrowing events stemmed from a drug-related debt owed by Freet's brother, James. Seeking to intimidate Jane Freet, Forrester and 3 associates descended upon the restaurant, intending to issue threats. However, when Mark Flemons intervened to shield Freet, a violent altercation ensued. Flemons' fall, striking his head on a car bumper, became the catalyst for a nightmarish turn of events. Believing Flemons to be gravely injured or deceased, Forrester and his accomplices took a sinister turn, deciding to eliminate all witnesses to their confrontation. The abduction and subsequent murders of all employees unfolded as a horrifying attempt to eradicate any trace of their crime, a haunting revelation that pierced the heart of the tragic narrative surrounding the Burger Chef murders. However, as details of Forrester's cooperation leaked to the press, a sudden reversal shattered the progress made in the investigation. Forrester recanted his confession, claiming coercion, effectively halting any further collaboration. With no concrete evidence linking Forrester to the murders and his subsequent lack of cooperation, authorities were left with an agonizing dead end. Along with his retraction of his confession, Donald Forrester's confession started becoming unraveled amid puzzling discrepancies. Firstly, Forrester led authorities on a fruitless search for the gun that was used in the murders, purportedly discarded into a river. Despite exhaustive efforts, the search yielded no trace of the firearm. Another crucial lead emerged from Forrester's ex-wife, recounting a disturbing incident where Forrester allegedly retrieved shell casings from a wooded area shortly after the murders, later flushing them down a toilet. A subsequent search of a septic tank at a residence turned up several spent shell casings, casting a shadow of suspicion on Forrester's credibility. Forrester, never charged in connection with the Burger Chef murders, passed away in prison from cancer in 2006 at the age of 55, taking with him the secrets he had purportedly held. Despite thousands of hours invested in police investigation and Burger Chef's substantial reward offering for information leading to the capture of the perpetrators, justice remained elusive. The case, officially unsolved, continues to haunt both investigators and the community. The Indiana State Police persist in their quest for closure, exploring advanced DNA tracing techniques in the ongoing pursuit of unraveling the chilling mystery that still echoes through the corridors of time. The tale of the Burger Chef murders stands as a haunting enigma in the annals of crime, an unsettling narrative woven with threads of tragedy, confusion, and unanswered questions. From that fateful night in 1978, the veil of normalcy in Speedway, Indiana was shattered, leaving behind a community gripped by fear and uncertainty. Donald Forrester's chilling confession, the hunt for the murder weapon, and the troubling turn of events all painted a cryptic portrait that has not yet found resolution. The anguish of families left shattered by the loss of loved ones still linger, and the shadows of suspicion cast over multiple suspects failed to bring closure to this point. As the years pass, the echoes of that haunting night still reverberate, yearning for closure that remains elusive. The open case continues to whisper its secrets to those who dare to listen, beckoning for a conclusion to a story that lingers in the heart of Speedway, an unfinished tale of lives lost and justice denied. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Fireside Unsolved. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to help the channel grow. Until next time, take it easy and be easy, you filthy bastards.
In a quiet corner of Scarsdale, New York, Lauren Spearer was born on January 17, 1991. Raised in the embrace of affluence in Westchester County, her life seemed etched in prosperity's golden glow. She attended Edgemont High School, the place where her dreams began to take shape, painting strokes of ambition and promise. After graduation in 2009, the allure of Indiana University beckoned, its halls promising to nurture her passion for design, textiles, and merchandising. Within its walls, she flourished, embracing the spirited pulse of the university's Jewish community and even dedicating her spring break to a noble cause, traveling abroad to plant seeds of hope in Israel's soil. Yet, it seemed as if fate had woven a complex tapestry for Lauren long before her journey to IU. The threads of destiny intertwined years earlier at Camp Tawanda, a summer camp in the mountain town of Honesdale, Pennsylvania. At the camp, her social circle seemingly bloomed like wildflowers as she met her future boyfriend, Jesse Wolfe, and another good friend years later, Jay Rosenbaum, amidst the mountain town's serene landscape. Little did they know their paths would converge again at Indiana University, entwining their lives further. On the night of June 3, 2011, glasses clinked and laughter danced in the air. Lauren and several friends were out drinking on that evening, with her boyfriend Jesse Wolfe staying at home, keeping things low-key on that night. As the night continued, Lauren became more and more intoxicated, while also texting with Jesse until he went to bed. Along with fragmented glimpses captured by surveillance's unyielding gaze, and witnesses that had seen Lauren, authorities have pieced together the fragments, constructing a haunting mosaic of Lauren's final footsteps before the abyss consumed her. At 12:30 a.m., witnesses see Lauren and a friend named David Rohn leaving her apartment. At this time, they go to her friend Jay Rosenbaum's apartment, and she met up with Rosenbaum's neighbor, Corey Rossman. At 1:46 a.m., Lauren is seen entering Kilroy's sports bar. After 41 minutes inside Kilroy's, Lauren and Corey Rossman are seen exiting at 2:27 a.m. Lauren left without her cell phone and shoes, both left at the bar. Corey walks Lauren to her apartment complex. Kilroy's was only a few minutes' walk from Lauren's residence at IU, so at 2:30 a.m., Lauren is seen entering Smallwood Plaza Apartments, where her residence is located. A passerby named Zach Oakes noticed her level of intoxication and asked if she was okay. 18 minutes later at 2:48 a.m., Lauren is seen leaving the apartment complex and entering an alley that runs between College Avenue and Morton Street. Security cameras in the area captured Lauren exiting the alley at 2:51 a.m. and walked toward an empty parking lot. Lauren's keys and purse were later found along this route. Lauren and Corey arrive at Corey's apartment shortly after. Rossman's roommate, Michael Beth, was at the apartment when they arrived. He reported that Corey was extremely drunk, stumbling and vomiting on the carpet on the way to his bedroom. Michael Beth stated that after Corey went to bed, he tried to persuade Lauren to crash at their apartment for her safety, but she insisted on going back to her own apartment. After approximately 45 minutes, Michael states he then phoned his neighbor and Lauren's friend, Jay Rosenbaum, at 3:30 a.m., wanting him to take care of Lauren for the remainder of the evening. Michael said that Lauren was attempting to get Michael to come back and drink with her at her apartment. Around this time, Lauren left Michael and went to Rosenbaum's apartment, where Jay Rosenbaum stated that he observed a bruise under Lauren's eye. She told him she didn't know how she got the bruise, though presumably sustained in some kind of fall earlier that evening. 2 calls were placed from Rosenbaum's phone at this time. It's suspected that Lauren placed both calls, one to David Rohn and one to another friend. Neither picked up, and no messages were left on their phones. Jay Rosenbaum reports that at 4:30 a.m., Lauren left his apartment, presumably to go back to her own. However, this is the last reported sighting of her. She was last seen barefoot, wearing black leggings and a white shirt, at the intersection of 11th Street and College Avenue. Later that morning, as the haze of the night began to wear off, Jesse Wolfe sent Lauren a text, but he received a reply from an employee at Kilroy's Sports Bar, stating her cell phone was left there from the previous night. Jesse then reported Lauren missing. 2 months passed without any tangible leads regarding Lauren's disappearance, until authorities began to explore the desolate expanse of the Sycamore Ridge landfill in Pimento, a haunting terrain south of Terre Haute. This site, the final repository for Bloomington's trash, became a focal point, a nexus of hope and despair, potentially holding the key to unlock the mystery surrounding Lauren's vanishing. For 9 relentless days, the landscape became a theater of scrutiny, as the Bloomington Police Department, the Indiana University Police Department, and the FBI scoured the depths for elusive clues, each item of refuse a potential piece in the puzzle of Lauren's disappearance. Over 3,000 individuals voiced their suspicions and theories via tips to police and investigators since Lauren went missing on that June night in 2011. As the years passed and the calendar turned into 2013, hundreds of more tips were received, a testament to a community's unwavering resolve and their relentless pursuit of answers, anchored in the hope of uncovering the truth behind Lauren's disappearance. Unfortunately, none of the tips were able to uncover the mystery of Lauren and what happened to her that night. With the case running cold, April 2015 brought the case again to the forefront, with the eerie parallels between the disappearances of Lauren and the tragic fate of another student at Indiana University, Hannah Wilson. Hannah Wilson, a spirited soul, vanished after leaving Kilroy's, the same establishment that Lauren had visited on the night she went missing. Hannah was last seen entering a taxi outside the bar, only for the dawn to reveal her lifeless form in the quietude of Brown County. A suspect was named in the murder of Hannah by the name of Daniel Messel. When Hannah's body was found, his cell phone was found laying close to her body. Due to the similarities in Hannah and Lauren's cases, whispers entwined the two narratives, weaving threads of perceived connections, hinting at a sinister tapestry entangling both lives. However, the truth, revealed in July 2015, shattered the fragile illusions. Investigations meticulously pored over the evidence, revealing the bitter reality. Lauren Spearer's disappearance and Hannah Wilson's tragic fate, while born from the same geographical space and echoing moments, were mere coincidences, 2 separate threads in the fabric of fate. The pursuit of answers in the case of Lauren's disappearance led investigators to a remote property on Old Morgantown Road in Martinsville, Indiana, approximately 20 miles north of Bloomington, Indiana. Justin Wagers, a resident with allegations of disturbing behavior towards local women, emerged as a focal point in this grim narrative. The FBI, flanked by a consortium of law enforcement agencies, descended upon this property, the search fueled by whispers and tips that echoed through Morgan County's corridors. Cadaver dogs, trained to detect the scent of death, signaled potential evidence, their alertness amplifying the gravity of the investigation. Anthropologists, wielding shovels as their tools, delved into the earth, sifting through the soil in a desperate quest for clues within the barn's confines. A white truck, a vehicle belonging to Wagers, was towed away as a potential repository of elusive answers. Yet despite the intensity of the search, the property revealed no tangible traces of Lauren Spearer, leaving investigators uncertain, trapped in a mystery refusing to yield its secrets. In the intricate web of speculation surrounding Lauren Spierer's disappearance, a multitude of theories have surfaced, each offering a glimpse into the shrouded events of that fateful evening. For her grieving parents, their belief in their daughter's demise casts a heavy shadow, fueled by haunting suspicions of foul play. The intoxicating haze that enveloped Lauren that night led her parents to ponder a harrowing possibility. Had someone surreptitiously tainted her drink at Kilroy's? Her father, Robert Spierer, spoke of the family's concerns, hinting at a sinister possibility lurking amidst the revelry. "We felt somebody could have slipped something into her drink at Kilroy's," said Robert. The focus of suspicion turned toward the men in Lauren's company that night, as well as her boyfriend, Jesse Wolfe. Their reluctance to undergo police-issued polygraph tests and swift legal representation after Lauren's disappearance fueled the flames of doubt. The family's hesitance to make direct accusations veiled their deep-seated belief that these individuals held crucial information concealed from the authorities. In response, the men defended themselves, claiming compliance with privately administered polygraphs, including one conducted by the FBI. They also conveyed their mistrust of the Bloomington police, which led them to seek legal counsel, a move aimed at safeguarding their own interests amidst the maelstrom of suspicion. Accounts from friends, including boyfriend Jesse Wolfe, painted a picture of Lauren as a drug user, mixing drugs with alcohol in the moments leading up to her disappearance. Allegations surfaced, linking her past with a trail of substance-related incidents, claims echoed by Wolfe's mother, alluding to a troubled history that traced back to a summer camp years earlier. "This poor little girl is not with us today because of her drug abuse," she said. The timeline of events revealed a troubled continuum, marked by a brush with the law months before her vanishing, a public intoxication arrest that offered a glimpse into a turbulent past. The discovery of a trace amount of cocaine in her room post-disappearance added another layer to the mosaic of uncertainty. Jay Rosenbaum's chilling testimony echoed a night teetering on the precipice of danger. Alcohol mingled with cocaine and crushed Klonopin tablets, a toxic concoction that danced perilously close to the edge. The presence of her rare heart condition, long QT syndrome, transformed this night of indulgence into a dangerous gamble with her body and life. Speculations veered into the realm of tragedy, a whispered rumor of overdose, shadowed by the suggestion that those around her might have concealed her fate to evade criminal repercussions. Yet, doubts emerged from the depths of investigation. Bo Dietl, the family's private investigator, dismissed the notion that a fatal overdose could suffice as motive, citing the prevalence of substance abuse on the Indiana University campus, rendering it an inadequate catalyst for such a sinister cover-up. The unsettling void surrounding Lauren Spierer's disappearance transcends singular explanations, leaving the investigation fraught with unexplored possibilities. Among the whispers of uncertainty, the specter of abduction by an unknown assailant lingers, an unsettling prospect contemplated by authorities. However, Lauren's parents, amidst their agonizing search for truth, remain steadfast in their belief that her vanishing was not the result of a random abduction. Their conviction rooted in an unshakable belief that someone known to Lauren held the key to that evening's events. The Spierer family's pursuit of closure extended beyond the bounds of investigation, manifesting in civil lawsuits against Corey Rossman, Jay Rosenbaum, and Michael Beth. These legal battles accused the defendants of negligence, alleging their contribution to Lauren's state of intoxication and failure to ensure her safe return home, ultimately claiming these actions led to her untimely demise. However, the legal tussle unfolded amidst complexities, grappling with the multifaceted nature of the case, shrouding the truth in uncertainty. Ultimately, all three cases against the men were dismissed. As the haunting echoes of Lauren Spierer's disappearance linger, the quest for answers continues to elude resolution. Her disappearance, entangled in the intricate threads of speculation, legal battles, and societal reflections, remains shrouded in uncertainty. Media scrutiny, dissecting the narrative through documentaries and podcasts, sheds light not only on the haunting details of Lauren's disappearance, but also on broader societal biases, unveiling a disconcerting pattern of disproportionate attention towards certain cases, a phenomenon that raises questions about the equity of media coverage. The journey to uncover the truth remains a testament to the resilience of those who loved Lauren, an enduring hope that one day the elusive answers will pierce through the shadows, bringing closure to a story that continues to echo through the corridors of time.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Fireside Unsolved. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to help the channel grow. Until next time, take it easy and be easy, you filthy bastards. heart of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Patricia Meehan was born to Dolly and Thomas Meehan. Her early years took place in the Steel City until her life journey took Patricia through the landscapes of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Here, amidst the echoed halls of academia, she delved into the study of early childhood development, a path seemingly leading toward a career in daycare. However, destiny had other plans, and in 1985, Patricia made a daring choice that would alter the course of her life. Patricia decided to leave college and move to Bozeman, Montana, embracing the role of a ranch hand. She had traded the familiar for the unknown, citing an unspoken love for animals as the catalyst for her profound career shift. Amidst the shadows of Montana's breathtaking landscapes, Patricia found herself entangled in a web of odd jobs and ranch work, a silent struggle to sustain her newfound life. In this solitude, her landlord became the last known observer of her presence, noting Patricia was unusually restless and that she seemed hyper. We arrive at the precipice of the mystery we are talking about today. The date was April 19, 1989, the eve of her disappearance. Patricia reached out to her father in Pittsburgh, a voice strained with the weight of stress and a desire to return home. The next night, under the twilight sky of April 20, 1989, the winds of fate swept across Montana Highway 200, near the quiet town of Circle, Montana. A woman by the name of Peggy Bueller and her father, navigating the westward path, found themselves thrust into a chilling encounter. At 8:15 p.m., their world shifted as they witnessed an eerie spectacle, a vehicle hurtling down the wrong side of the road. Peggy Bueller, instinctively swerving onto the shoulder, narrowly escaped a head-on collision. However, the unfolding drama continued as the other vehicle collided with the car trailing behind, a vehicle driven by off-duty police dispatcher Carol Heitz. Miraculously unharmed, Heitz emerged from the wreckage, only to find herself face-to-face with a chilling sight. A blonde woman, seemingly detached from the reality of the crash, emerged from the wreckage of her vehicle and walked up to Carol Heitz. Her gaze, penetrating and otherworldly, locked onto Heitz without uttering a single word. Carol would later say that it was as if she were looking right through me. Peggy Bueller and her father, both witnesses to this surreal encounter, remained on the roadside, captivated by the unfolding events. The blonde woman then turned and gracefully climbed over a fence. From the opposite side of the fence, she continued to stand and blankly stare at the scene of the accident. It was as if time stood still as the unidentified woman lingered, a haunting presence on the periphery of the accident. Then, as mysterious and surreal as this whole scene was, the blonde woman walked away into the vast expanse of an empty field, swallowed by the obscurity of the night. Bueller wasted no time and drove into town, seeking a lifeline through the nearest phone. Meanwhile, her father remained with Heitz at the crash site. As the authorities arrived, the unsettling truth unfurled. There was no sign of the mysterious woman, but the driver was none other than Patricia Meehan, a revelation unearthed through a simple Department of Motor Vehicles database search of her license plate number. In the aftermath of the baffling crash, law enforcement embarked on a trail fraught with uncertainty. The starting point of the search began at a desolate field, approximately 3/4 of a mile away from the site of the collision. There, amidst the eerie quiet, police unearthed a trail of tennis shoe tracks, a path believed to belong to Patricia Meehan. Following the traces until the early hours of April 21st, the imprints, seemingly leading to answers, ultimately vanished into the unforgiving terrain, leaving behind an unsettling void. The Meehan family arrived in Montana shortly after learning of their daughter's disappearance, determined to unravel the mystery. They distributed over 2,000 missing person flyers throughout the area, pleading for any clue that could help find Patricia. Local volunteers, mounted on horseback and navigating the rugged landscape on ATVs, scoured the mountains and terrains surrounding the crash site. The Meehan family employed a helicopter to survey the vast expanse below. Yet, despite the collective efforts, the mystery persisted, eluding the grasp of those who sought answers. Abandoned coal mines became the focus of searches, each crevice examined in the hope of revealing Patricia. However, the shadows concealed their secrets, and Patricia Meehan remained in the vastness of Montana. The crash site near Circle, nearly 400 miles from Meehan's home in Bozeman, added another layer of perplexity. Why was she there, and what prompted Patricia to make this journey? Law enforcement and the Meehan family alike found themselves grappling with the absence of explanations. Without any concrete leads, police initially theorized scenarios. Did Meehan hitchhike away from the scene, or did she vanish in the unseen confines of a hay truck that was parked nearby? The theories, though plausible, lacked the support of reported sightings, leaving the mystery to deepen. Amidst the uncertainty, fragments of Meehan's life hinted at a deeper complexity. Her mother revealed that she battled depression and had sought solace in the counsel of a psychologist, an appointment scheduled for the morning of April 21st, a detail that added another layer to the unfolding narrative. As the search continued, a peculiar artifact emerged from Meehan's belongings, a roll of film which was consequently developed by her family. On the roll, a self-portrait of Patricia captured in front of a mirror. In the wake of Patricia Meehan's mysterious disappearance, a multitude of sightings emerged. Over 5,000 reported sightings, painting a portrait of a woman who seemed to traverse the continent, leaving whispers of her in her wake wherever she went. On May 4, 1989, in Luverne, Minnesota, a police officer claimed to have glimpsed Meehan inside a Hardee's restaurant. There, she sat alone, immersed in solitude, drinking water for over 5 hours until the restaurant's closing. When questioned, the woman refused to provide her name, only offering cryptic details, first saying she was from Colorado, then Israel. Then, on May 5, 1989, there were 2 separate sightings, one in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and the other in Murdo, South Dakota. In the former, a waitress reported Meehan lingering in a truck stop diner from midnight to mid-morning, while in the latter, another waitress observed her in the company of a mysterious man late into the night. May 19, 1989 brought the intrigue closer to home. A waitress near Patricia Meehan's Bozeman residence reported that she had a hurried breakfast, saying she had to go shopping at 9 a.m., continued by disorientation and talking to herself. As the week unfolded, another reported sighting emerged at a horse auction in Billings, Montana. The odyssey persisted into Washington state on May 30, 1989, as a truck driver encountered a woman resembling Meehan on Interstate 90. Declining a ride, she spoke of a broken-down car and the quest for a phone. A week later in Tacoma, Washington, another sighting surfaced, with a Port of Tacoma employee recounting a meeting with a woman seeking directions to Aberdeen at a truck stop. By June 1989, over 25 sightings had been reported of Patricia Meehan. 3 were confirmed by police, yet Patricia Meehan remained missing. The Pacific Northwest became a canvas for sightings of Patricia, with truck stops between Montana and Seattle becoming the stage for numerous alleged encounters. Her sister and ex-boyfriend also lived in Washington state at the time, so it was thought she may have attempted to go there. As we conclude this perplexing chapter in the tale of Patricia Meehan, the echoes of mystery reverberate through the annals of the unknown. From the desolate fields near Circle, Montana, where tennis shoe tracks vanished into the terrain, to the countless sightings that painted a spectral silhouette crisscrossing the continent, Patricia's journey remains elusive. The threads of this enigma, woven through the accounts of witnesses and the efforts of law enforcement, form a tapestry that defies easy interpretation. As we navigate the twists and turns of this mysterious narrative, one thing remains certain. Patricia Meehan's tale is a testament to the inexplicable nature of the human experience. Whether she ventured into the night, leaving only footprints in the fields, or became a fleeting presence in truck stops and diners across the country, the enigma endures. The search for Patricia Meehan, a daughter, a sister, a mysterious figure in the night, continues to beckon to those who seek resolution. In the void of answers, we are left with the haunting echoes of a story that transcends the tangible, inviting us to ponder the depths of the unknown and the resilience of mystery in the face of time. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Fireside Unsolved. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to help the channel grow. Until next time, take it easy and be easy, you filthy bastards.
On March 11, 1988, in the heart of Dallas, Texas, Tiffany Daniels was born. To all who met her, she was a vibrant soul with a passion for art and stood out in high school with her outgoing nature. Her family cherished her free-spirited essence, describing how she effortlessly uplifted those around her. Immersed in the world of creativity, Tiffany graduated high school and then found work at the Pensacola State College Theater in Pensacola, Florida, painting captivating sets that brought stories to life. Beyond her artistic pursuits, Tiffany embraced Pensacola's cultural delights and natural wonders. In the city's downtown, she orchestrated and attended blues and swing dance soirees. Near her residence, a stone's throw from the Bob Sykes Bridge to Santa Rosa Island in the Gulf of Mexico, she explored the dunes through hikes and bike rides. A pescatarian with a penchant for expressing herself through ink, Tiffany adorned her feet with tattooed images depicting a plant's growth and blooming. Despite her apparent contentment, financial woes lurked in Tiffany's life. Her parents noticed a pattern of covering rent for housemates who couldn't contribute. By the summer of 2013, Tiffany was in search of a new roommate. She posted an ad on Craigslist, and Gary Nichols, a 54-year-old separating from his wife, answered the call. Despite concerns about the age difference, Tiffany and Gary found common ground in biking and food, and best of all, Gary could pay his rent. On August 11, 2013, the day began with a bittersweet farewell breakfast for Tiffany's boyfriend. He had been accepted to the University of Texas in Austin. While still deeply connected to him, Tiffany hesitated to uproot herself from Pensacola and move back to Texas with him at that point of her life. Her new roommate, Gary, would later say that while Tiffany was obviously sad about the moving away of her boyfriend, but the blow was cushioned, knowing she would be visiting him in Austin in the near future. Later that day, she and Gary immersed themselves in the movie Monty Python and the Holy Grail, the source of inspiration for an upcoming theater production of Spamalot that Tiffany would be working on. As night fell, Tiffany and Gary retired to their respective bedrooms with work awaiting them the next morning. At 5 a.m., a mysterious sequence unfolded. Gary Nichols states that at that time he was woken up by the noise of the front door. He heard the front door being opened and closed several times in a row. Peering outside, Gary had hoped to catch a glimpse of Tiffany, but found emptiness. Around 7 a.m., Gary Nichols embarked on his daily routine for work and noticed the absence of Tiffany's gray Toyota 4Runner. It was nowhere to be seen. Assuming she had already left for work, he carried on with his day. However, Tiffany's parents found this early departure unusual, as she typically rose just in time to meet her commitments. Tiffany, true to her work ethic, arrived at the theater that morning punctually and ready for her set painting duties. Something, however, was amiss. She sought permission from her supervisor to leave a bit earlier that day and mentioned the possibility of taking time off, perhaps the entire week, without divulging the reasons. Her supervisor granted the request, and she punched out at 4:43 p.m. as she exited the theater. That marked the last confirmed sighting of Tiffany Daniels. As night fell, concern crept into Gary Nichols' thoughts. By 10 p.m., Tiffany had not returned home, and calls to her went unanswered. Growing uneasy, Gary contacted his daughter Noel, who suggested that Tiffany, as an adult, might be spending time with friends her age. Agreeing with this assessment, Gary retired for the night. The following day brought no relief as attempts to reach Tiffany remained futile. Returning home that evening, Gary discovered an unsettling detail. The electricity had been cut off. Suspecting a missed bill payment, he once again contacted his daughter, expressing the escalating worry. This time, Noel recommended reaching out to Tiffany's parents. Noel and Tiffany's mother, Cindy, embarked on a search, contacting all known friends of Tiffany. None had seen her all week, assuming she might be visiting others. Exhausting all leads by the end of the week, realization set in. They had to involve the authorities. The decision to report Tiffany Daniels as missing marked the beginning of a mystery that would perplex investigators and haunt those who cared about her. Cindy, determined to unravel the mystery surrounding her daughter Tiffany's disappearance, initially approached the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. However, she found their response dismissive, with the belief that Tiffany might have gone out for a night of partying and would resurface on her own. Unperturbed, Cindy redirected her efforts to the Pensacola Police Department, sensing a more proactive stance on the case. Detective Daniel Harnett took charge, meeting Cindy at Tiffany's residence to conduct a thorough search. Despite the meticulous examination, no signs of foul play emerged, and Tiffany's camping tent remained untouched in her room. It became evident that if she had left town, it wasn't for a camping expedition. Harnett, delving into Tiffany's personal connections, turned his attention to her boyfriend, who had recently departed for Austin. While the boyfriend was cooperative, providing fingerprints and DNA samples, and his phone records verified his presence in Austin throughout the weekend, the investigation took a deeper look. The possibility of Tiffany being affected by her boyfriend's departure surfaced, as she had exhibited a slightly subdued demeanor earlier in the year. Yet plans for the immediate future contradicted the notion of self-harm or starting anew elsewhere. Tiffany had organized a dance just 2 weeks away, indicating her commitment to upcoming events. Intriguingly, the investigation uncovered that after leaving work early, Tiffany briefly returned home. Gary Nichols, present at the time, was engaged in a phone call with his out-of-state girlfriend and did not recall Tiffany's presence. Despite skepticism about the oversight, police accepted Nichols's account, dismissing any suspicion of wrongdoing and acknowledging his role as the first to express concern about Tiffany's whereabouts. The puzzle deepened, leaving investigators with more questions than answers in the enigma of Tiffany Daniels' disappearance. As the news of Tiffany Daniels' disappearance gained public attention over the first weekend, media outlets reported on the case, and her friends and family took to the streets, distributing flyers in hopes of finding clues. The initial efforts bore fruit early the following week, when a jogger, familiar with Tiffany's family, made a startling discovery on August 20th, 8 days after she was last seen. Tiffany's gray Toyota 4Runner was spotted in a parking lot at Park West in Pensacola Beach, near Fort Pickens at the western end of Santa Rosa Island. Inside the vehicle lay Tiffany's bicycle, cell phone, purse with wallet, clothes, paintings, a jug of water, and a jar of peanut butter. The car was towed to the police garage for examination, revealing 2 unidentified fingerprints, one on the door handle and another on the steering wheel. Residents near the condominium adjacent to the parking lot shared puzzling observations. One resident asserted that the car had not been there until 2 days earlier, while 2 others claimed to have seen a man exiting the vehicle on the day it was found. Detective Daniel Harnett delved into the timeline of the car's journey to the island, examining security camera footage from toll booths at the Bob Sykes Bridge. The footage indicated that the 4Runner had passed through the tolls at 7:51 p.m. on the evening Tiffany disappeared, but it couldn't be determined if she was driving. The car remained in the police impound lot, preserving its contents for potential future relevance. The mystery deepened as investigators found sand on the bicycle tires, but none on the car's floorboards. Harnett speculated that Tiffany might have gone for a bike ride on the beach and possibly decided to swim afterward, especially considering the ongoing Perseid meteor shower, an event she might have wanted to witness on the beach. However, no bodies were found on the shore, and the absence of conclusive evidence left multiple possibilities open. With Santa Rosa Island spanning 50 miles and limited manpower, the police couldn't conduct an exhaustive search. The following weekend, the Class Kids, a volunteer organization, collaborated with local police and the U.S. National Park Service to search much of the island with humans and search dogs. While a few fragments of clothing and pieces of jewelry were discovered, they did not belong to Tiffany Daniels, leaving her disappearance shrouded in uncertainty. As the search efforts in Pensacola reached a standstill, Tiffany Daniels' friends and family turned to social media, creating a Facebook page to amplify their search. The page generated an influx of tips, with one notable report from a convenience store clerk, who claimed to have seen her days after her last confirmed sighting. The clerk described her foot tattoos, adding an initial sense of credibility. However, the account was discredited when the store's security camera footage failed to validate the sighting. In January 2014, months after Tiffany's disappearance, a more promising lead surfaced on the Facebook page. A waitress from Metairie, Louisiana, outside New Orleans, reported a peculiar encounter shortly after Tiffany went missing. According to the waitress, a woman matching Tiffany's description entered the restaurant with 2 others, one around the same age and the other older, possibly Latina, and more elegantly dressed. The younger women behaved oddly, wearing long-sleeved shirts with cuffs pulled over their hands and avoiding eye contact. When the waitress mentioned the missing woman from Florida, the group abruptly left. Unfortunately, the restaurant's security cameras had been taped over, preventing any documentary confirmation of the sighting. Tiffany's parents found 2 compelling reasons to believe this was their daughter. First, the habit of pulling sleeves over her hands was something Tiffany often did when cold. Second, the waitress recalled the woman resembling Tiffany, asking about the broth used in the soups, reminiscent of a past incident where Tiffany questioned a restaurant about chicken broth substitution due to the unavailability of fish broth, a crucial detail given her pescatarian preferences. Fueled by concern and a lack of concrete answers, Tiffany's parents began considering the unsettling possibility that she might have left Pensacola involuntarily during the week between her last sighting and the start of the search. The notion of human trafficking surfaced as they drew parallels between Tiffany's case and another woman abducted from nearby Panama City, taken to New Orleans, and coerced into prostitution. Interstate 10, connecting Pensacola and New Orleans, is known as a major trafficking route in the U.S. Despite these concerns, Detective Harnett expressed that there is no evidence supporting the trafficking theory at this point, emphasizing that the investigation has not ruled out any possibilities. The mystery surrounding Tiffany Daniels' disappearance continued to elude resolution, leaving her family with more questions than answers. The second anniversary of Tiffany Daniels' disappearance in 2015 brought about two significant developments in the case. The Investigation Discovery Cable Network decided to feature her story on its revived series, Disappeared, which focuses on missing persons cases. A crew from ID visited Pensacola, filming locations tied to the case, reenacting events, and conducting interviews with Detective Harnett, Tiffany's parents, sister, and some of her friends who had assisted in the investigation. The episode, shedding light on the mysterious disappearance, aired in April 2016. Prior to the episode's broadcast, a breakthrough emerged in the case. In December 2015, following coverage of the case's second anniversary, a citizen came forward with crucial information. The individual reported having seen a man in his 30s, clad in red shorts and no shirt, opening the tailgate of Tiffany's car on the day it was discovered. This account aligned with the earlier statements of two witnesses who observed a man leaving the vehicle after it was parked in an unusual manner, facing oncoming traffic in an area designated for wildlife. This revelation provided a new angle for investigators to explore. As the 10th anniversary of Tiffany Daniels' disappearance approached, a mural depicting her and drawing attention to the case was painted on Pensacola's graffiti bridge. The mural served as a poignant reminder of the unsolved mystery and a plea for information that could unravel the secrets surrounding Tiffany's vanishing. Despite these efforts, the case remained unresolved, leaving Tiffany's family and investigators with lingering questions and the hope that continued awareness might one day lead to answers. If you have any tips or information regarding the disappearance of Tiffany Daniels, please call the Pensacola Police Department at 850-435-1900.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Fireside Unsolved. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to help the channel grow. Until next time, take it easy and be easy, you filthy bastards. Joshua Guimond's story begins on June 18, 1982, in Maple Lake, Minnesota, where he was born to parents Brian and Lisa Guimond. Growing up as an only child, Joshua grew into a bright and determined individual with a passion for outdoor activities like ice fishing and hunting, often enjoying these pursuits with his father. His strong sense of responsibility and commitment made him well-liked among his peers. A standout student, Joshua was not only the valedictorian but also the class president of the Maple Lake High School class of 2000. His academic journey continued at the College of St. Benedict and St. John's University, a Catholic institution in Collegeville, Minnesota, commonly known as St. John's University. Nestled in 2,500 acres of woods and lakes, St. John's provided a scenic backdrop for Joshua's pursuit of a political science major. In November 2002, at the age of 20, Joshua was a junior residing in a room at the St. Maur dormitory building on campus. Standing at approximately 6 feet tall, weighing 176 pounds and possessing blonde hair and blue eyes, he was a distinctive presence on campus. However, during the fall semester of 2002, a cloud of unease hung over the area due to a series of attacks, attempted abductions, and stalkings targeting male college students. Joshua Guimond's life would soon become entwined with this unsettling backdrop, leading to a mystery that continues to captivate those seeking answers. On the night of November 9, 2002, Joshua Guimond had been occupied writing a history paper in his room at St. Maur. At 11:06 p.m., he left his room, heading north to attend a party at the Mettencourt dormitory building. Strangely, he ventured out without his wallet, glasses, coat, car keys, or the case for his contact lenses. Upon reaching Metencourt, he joined a gathering where he engaged in drinking and poker. Around 11:45 p.m., Joshua abruptly left the party without providing any explanation. Although he had hinted at having somewhere else to be, his departure was unexpected. Notably, he was last seen wearing blue jeans and a gray St. John's sweatshirt, attire ill-suited for prolonged exposure to the snow, which was abundant in Minnesota, especially at this time of the year. The brief journey between Metencourt and St. Maur, approximately 3 minutes by foot, involved Stumpf Lake, and the most straightforward route featured a bridge spanning the lake. 2 witnesses reported seeing Joshua walking on the lake bridge between 12:15 a.m. and 12:30 a.m. What happened afterward remains unknown. There is uncertainty about whether Joshua returned to St. Maur, and there was no activity on his credit card after his departure. Investigators discovered that music had been playing on the computer in his bedroom between 11:52 p.m. on the 9th and 12:32 a.m. on the 10th. Intriguingly, some songs had been skipped, suggesting that someone physically operated the computer during that time. The mystery surrounding Joshua Guimond's disappearance deepened, leaving investigators and his loved ones with puzzling questions and a sense of uncertainty. The alarm was first raised when Joshua Guimond failed to appear for a mock trial debate hosted by the school's pre-law society on the afternoon of November 10th. Concerned friends attempted to contact him, finding it unusual for him not to respond. Realizing something was amiss, they reached out to campus security. Upon investigation, it was discovered that Joshua's car was still on campus, further intensifying worries about his disappearance. The St. Maur dormitory where Joshua resided became a focal point of concern. The case was taken up by the Stearns County Sheriff's Office, with Sheriff Steve Soika leading the efforts. The investigation drew collaboration from various entities, including the FBI, the Minnesota National Guard, and local volunteers who tirelessly searched the expansive premises of the St. John's campus. The investigation into Joshua Guimond's disappearance took a puzzling turn, as detailed scrutiny uncovered inconsistencies in the timeline of events surrounding that fateful night. Notably, Joshua's roommate, Nick Hajdukovic, emerged as a focal point due to disparities in his account. Rumors of a disagreement between Nick and Joshua added a layer of suspicion, especially as it was revealed that Nick and Katie Benson, Joshua's ex-girlfriend of 4.5 years, were reportedly in a relationship. On the night Joshua vanished, both Nick and Katie were together. Nick, who was a friend of Joshua and co-captain of the mock trial team with him, provided authorities with his version of events. He claimed to have had brunch with Joshua on November 9th, seeing him again at 6:30 p.m. before going to Katie's place. Upon returning at 2 a.m., Joshua was nowhere to be found. However, another roommate reported hearing an argument between Joshua and Nick about Katie that night, with the exact timing unclear. Further scrutiny of Nick's timeline raised additional questions. He told the police he left Katie's place at 2:30 a.m., but his dorm keycard showed it was used to access the dorms at 2:42 a.m. Katie mentioned that she left her home between 1 and 1:30 a.m., leaving unaccounted time in Nick's story, as the drive back to St. John's University from Katie's place was only about a 10-minute drive. It's worth noting that Katie's recollection of the time Nick left might be subject to error. Despite these discrepancies, Katie stated that she didn't believe Nick had any involvement in Joshua's disappearance. The fact that Nick declined to take a polygraph examination has been highlighted by some as a potential sign of guilt. However, it's essential to consider that such a decision doesn't necessarily imply guilt, as individuals may avoid polygraph tests for various reasons, including legal concerns. Joshua Guimond's disappearance occurred within a troubling context, marked by 3 other missing persons cases in the preceding 10 days. Erica Dahlquist, a telemarketer, had disappeared on October 30th from a bar in northwest Minneapolis, known to be frequented by college students. Christopher Jenkins, a University of Minnesota student, went missing after visiting a bar in Minneapolis on October 31st. And Michael Knoll, a University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire student, disappeared on November 6th after visiting a bar in Albert Lea, Minnesota. The families of the 4 missing individuals, as well as investigators, suspected a potential link between the cases, drawing attention to Guimond's disappearance. Search efforts were intensified, utilizing K9 units to aid in the search. One of the dogs tracked Guimond's scent to Stumpf Lake. Investigators theorized that he might have fallen into the lake that night, possibly drowning, especially considering the influence of alcohol. In February 2003, Christopher Jenkins's body was discovered in the Mississippi River. In March 2003, Michael Knowles' body was found in a lake near Rochester, Minnesota. The recovery of these bodies added weight to the theory that Guimond might have been pushed into the lake, suggesting the possibility of a serial killer. Despite the deaths initially being labeled as accidental drownings, Jenkins's case was later reclassified as a homicide in 2006. Tragically, Erica Dahlquist's body was found in a shallow grave in 2004 on the property of her convicted murderer, William Myers. The unresolved nature of Joshua Guimond's disappearance, amid this series of disturbing events, continued to leave both investigators and the families of the missing with lingering questions and a sense of unease. The search for Joshua Guimond began at Stumpf Lake in November 2002, but his body was never found despite multiple searches. Brian Guimond, Joshua's father, hired private divers for independent searches, yielding no results. By 2022, Sheriff Soika had ruled out the theory of Joshua drowning. Investigators examined the contents of Joshua's computer in his St. Maur dorm bedroom. Unfortunately, his room was not secured as a crime scene after his disappearance, allowing anyone to access the computer. It was discovered that data had been wiped from the browser and hard drive, and the wiping program was installed post-disappearance. In 2008, investigators recovered data from the browser, revealing erased information on making fake ID cards. They also found evidence suggesting Joshua had been communicating with other men on Yahoo, adopting the persona of a woman. Investigators theorized that he may have been exploring his sexuality in this manner, and speculated that he might have gone to meet one of the men in person. The theory suggested he was either abducted or entered a stranger's car on the lake bridge. Around the time of Joshua's disappearance, there were reports of a man driving an orange Pontiac Sunfire dropping off other men on campus. One of the dropped-off men ran away when campus security approached, but the driver provided no useful information, and the car has since been destroyed. In 2022, several images of unidentified men were recovered from Joshua's hard drive, prompting the sheriff's office to release 28 of those pictures, seeking public assistance in identifying them. At the time of Joshua's disappearance, there was a scandal involving sexual abuse allegedly committed by Christian monks, primarily associated with the St. John's Abbey Monastery connected to the campus. Some monks also resided in the buildings of Metten Court and St. Maur. Joshua's friends and family revealed that the abuse scandal had outraged him, and his computer contained internet searches related to the controversy. Intriguingly, a dog tracked Joshua's scent to the Abbey, adding another layer of complexity to the investigation. The mysterious circumstances surrounding Joshua Guimond's disappearance persisted, leaving investigators and loved ones grappling with unanswered questions and unresolved leads. In 2022, just before the 20th anniversary of Joshua's disappearance, there was a resurgence of interest in the case. This renewed attention was sparked by a podcast dedicated to the disappearance called Simply Vanished, and an episode featuring Joshua Guimond in the 16th season of the Netflix series Unsolved Mysteries. Notably, the Stearns County Sheriff's Office actively participated in the production of the Unsolved Mysteries episode, leading to a significant influx of new tips related to the case. This renewed public interest provided a glimmer of hope for potential breakthroughs and further investigation into the mysterious disappearance of Joshua Guimond. As we reflect on the perplexing and deeply troubling case of Joshua Guimond, his disappearance remains a haunting mystery that has left investigators and loved ones grappling with unanswered questions for more than 2 decades. The efforts to uncover the truth have seen numerous twists and turns, from searches in Stumpf Lake to the examination of Joshua's computer, revealing a complex web of possibilities. Despite the challenges, the determination to find answers persists. The recent resurgence of interest brings new hope for breakthroughs and a fresh wave of tips. The collaborative efforts involving the Stearns County Sheriff's Office, Joshua's father, Brian Guimond, and the wider community underline the collective commitment to resolving this enduring mystery. The passage of time may cast shadows on the details, but the resilience of those seeking answers shines brightly. The story continues, and the quest for resolution remains steadfast. If you have any information regarding the whereabouts of Joshua Guimond, please contact the Stearns County Sheriff's Office at 320-259-3700. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Fireside Unsolved. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to help the channel grow. Until next time, take it easy and be easy, you filthy bastards.
Today we delve into the mysterious and unsettling story of Jennifer Joyce Kesey. Born on May 20th, 1981 in Orlando, Florida, Jennifer blossomed into a spirited young woman with a promising future. A graduate of Vivian Gaither High School in Tampa, Florida, she pursued her education at the University of Central Florida in Orlando, earning a degree in finance in 2003. As 2006 unfolded, Jennifer's life seemed to be on an upward trajectory. She had recently acquired a condominium in Orlando and held the position of a finance manager at the Central Florida Investments timeshare company in Ocoee. This small city, with a population of around 49,000 people, was just a short 15-minute drive from downtown Orlando. During the weekend of January 21st, 2006, Jennifer Kesey enjoyed a getaway with her boyfriend on St. Croix. Their vacation came to an end on Sunday, January 22nd, and Jennifer spent that night at her boyfriend's residence. The following Monday, January 23, 2006, she began her day by driving directly to work, seemingly returning to her routine after the weekend retreat. According to witness accounts, Jennifer Kesey left her workplace around 6 p.m. that evening. On her journey homeward, she took a moment to connect with her parents, engaging in a conversation with her father around 6:15 p.m. It was during this exchange that she arrived back at her residence, marking her return home for the first time since departing for her vacation. As the night wore on, Jennifer and her boyfriend exchanged phone calls, bidding each other goodnight around 10 p.m., unaware of the darkness that loomed ahead. The following morning brought an unsettling twist to Jennifer Kesey's routine. Her boyfriend, noticing the absence of the usual call or text before she left for work, a habit she maintained meticulously, grew concerned. Attempting to reach her, he dialed her number, only to find it going straight to voicemail. Initially attributing it to a meeting she had mentioned, he persisted in trying to contact her without success. By 11 a.m., Jennifer's employer, recognizing her absence at work, took the initiative to contact her parents. Alarmed by the situation, Jennifer's parents embarked on a 2-hour drive from their home to hers. Simultaneously, they reached out to her boyfriend, sharing the distressing news that Jennifer had not shown up for work. The ordinary rhythm of their lives was abruptly disrupted, and an air of concern began to envelop those close to Jennifer. As Jennifer's parents made their way to her home, they took the proactive step of contacting the manager of her condominium, requesting him to check her residence using a spare key. The manager reported that everything seemed normal inside, but notably, Jennifer's car was missing from its usual spot. By 3:15 p.m., Jennifer's parents reached her condo, where they made a perplexing discovery. Inside, they found evidence suggesting that she had gone through her morning routine. A wet towel, laid-out clothes, and other signs indicated that she had showered, dressed, and prepared for work that day. As the realization of her unexplained disappearance set in, friends and family rallied together, distributing flyers about Jennifer. The Orlando Police Department took swift action, organizing search parties on foot, horseback, by boat, helicopter, car, and ATV, intensifying efforts to unravel the mystery surrounding Jennifer Kesey. In the absence of any signs of forced entry or struggle, investigators initially speculated that on the morning of January 24th, Jennifer Kesey left her apartment for work, locking her front door. Their initial theory proposed that she might have been abducted while walking towards or getting into her car. However, as the investigation unfolded, a revised hypothesis emerged, suggesting that she left her apartment and was abducted at some point during her journey to work. On January 26th, at approximately 8:10 a.m., a significant development occurred when Jennifer's black 2004 Chevrolet Malibu was discovered parked at another apartment complex, about a mile away from her own residence. The discovery ignited excitement among investigators, as several hidden cameras at the new location captured footage of the part of the lot where the car had been parked and the exit. The surveillance footage revealed that around 12 noon on Monday, January 23rd, an unidentified person of interest dropped off Jennifer's vehicle at the apartment complex. Unfortunately, the person's physical features were not clearly discernible on the video, and the snapshots capturing this individual were obscured by the complex fencing and posts, concealing the face. This led to the suspect being dubbed the luckiest person of interest ever by a journalist. Despite efforts to enhance the video, including assistance from the FBI and even NASA, the best available images of the suspect were still insufficient for identification. The FBI could only provide a general estimation of the person's size and gender, stating that the individual stood between 5'3" and 5'5". The mysterious circumstances surrounding Jennifer Kessie's disappearance took a frustrating turn as investigators grappled with the challenge of identifying this elusive person of interest. In their meticulous investigation, detectives analyzed the contents left inside Jennifer Kessie's car and concluded that robbery was not a likely motive in her disappearance. A search dog traced a scent from her parked car back to her apartment complex, suggesting the possibility that the suspect might have returned to the parking lot after abandoning the vehicle. However, no additional evidence was discovered along this route. A forensic examination of the car yielded minimal results, with only a latent print and a small DNA fiber found. Detectives inferred that the car had been deliberately wiped down, adding another layer of mystery to the case. Several personal items were reported missing, including Jennifer's cell phone, iPod, keys, purse, briefcase, and the outfit she was wearing. Attempts to locate her through her cell phone proved futile, as its power remained off. Notably, her bank account card had not been used since her disappearance. In line with investigative protocols, authorities initially questioned Jennifer Kessie's immediate family and close friends, exploring any potential motives within her inner circle. The ex-boyfriend, expressing recent distress and a desire to reconcile, underwent interrogation, but investigators concluded that he was not involved in her abduction. Similarly, the current boyfriend was questioned, and his alibi checked out, eliminating him as a suspect. During Jennifer's disappearance, her condominium complex was undergoing significant expansion, with many non-English-speaking laborers on site, adding another layer of complexity to the investigation. Jennifer Kessie's unsettling encounters with construction workers, who reportedly catcalled, whistled, and harassed her, became a focal point for investigators. The language barrier with many of the workers posed a challenge, limiting the extent of their interrogation. Despite these difficulties, no leads related to the construction workers were uncovered, leaving this aspect of the investigation with unanswered questions. Turning their attention to her workplace, detectives began questioning Jennifer's coworkers. A forensic examination of her computer unveiled that a manager at her workplace harbored a desire for a relationship with her. However, Jennifer had declined his advances, expressing her opposition to workplace relationships. The manager underwent multiple interviews but was eventually ruled out as a suspect. As investigators explored various angles, the unsettling possibility of human trafficking lingered. While Jennifer Kessie's friends and family, along with investigators, remained open to this theory, it was considered less likely than other possibilities. The search for answers continued, with the enigma of her disappearance deepening, and the various leads explored offering both challenges and moments of inconclusiveness. In May 2007, Jennifer Kessie's employer, under the leadership of David A. Siegel, announced a $1 million reward for information leading to her whereabouts. The reward had a July 4th deadline, and the stipulation that Jennifer had to be alive for the reward to be claimed. However, this substantial reward was never claimed. Another $5,000 reward, focused on information leading to the discovery of her remains, was also offered through Central Florida Crime Line. Despite these efforts, the case remained unsolved, attracting state and national press attention at the time of Jennifer's disappearance. In 2018, Jennifer Kessie's parents took legal action against the Orlando Police Department, seeking access to police records related to the case. The lawsuit reached a resolution in March 2019, granting the family access to approximately 16,000 pages of records. On November 8, 2019, a significant development occurred in the investigation into Jennifer Kessie's disappearance. Acting on a tip provided by the Kessie family investigator, police conducted a 2-day search at Lake Fisher in Orange County, located 13 miles from Jennifer's condo. The search was prompted by a woman who recalled witnessing a peculiar incident around the time of Jennifer's disappearance. According to the tip, a man in a pickup truck had driven to the lake, unloaded a 6 to 8 foot piece resembling rolled-up carpet, and then dumped it into the lake before departing. The details of any findings from this search have not been disclosed, leaving the outcome of this lead uncertain. In December 2022, it was reported that the investigation had been transferred to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement Cold Case Unit. The FDLE's approach involves interviewing individuals identified by Jennifer Kessie's original law enforcement team as possible suspects or sources of valuable information. Additionally, they plan to retest evidence that, according to Kessie's family, had never been retested. Despite these ongoing efforts, Jennifer Kessie is still classified as missing and endangered by multiple law enforcement agencies, including the Orlando Police Department, FBI, Orange County Sheriff's Office, NCIC, NCMA, and Interpol. Her name continues to be listed on the FBI's most wanted/missing persons list, underscoring the persistent determination to unravel the mystery surrounding her disappearance and bring closure to her family and loved ones. In a recent interview with Yahoo News, Drew Kessie, Jennifer's father, said, "We have great hope that we will someday locate Jennifer, and I hope it's within my lifetime. I mean, I don't have too much longer left. It blows my mind at this point," he said of a lack of answers in the case, adding that he's sure law enforcement is trying their best, but he'd like them to walk in his family's shoes for 1 year. If you have any information regarding Jennifer Kessie's disappearance, authorities encourage you to reach out to the Find Jennifer Kessie Facebook page or contact the Florida Department of Law Enforcement at 1-888-356-4774. Your assistance could be crucial in shedding light on this unresolved mystery and bringing closure to Jennifer's family and loved ones.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Fireside Unsolved. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to help the channel grow. Until next time, take it easy and be easy, you filthy bastards.
The year was 1988, and in the quiet town of Lampasas, Texas, Elizabeth Campbell, a 20-year-old student at Central Texas College, found herself entangled in a web of events that would unfold into an enduring mystery. Living with her parents, Tom and Sam Campbell, in the serene outskirts of Austin, Texas, Elizabeth balanced the demands of education, work, and the complexities of young love. Born into a family that bore the imprints of military life, Elizabeth's parents, Tom and Sam, kindled their love while Tom served in the Army in Korea, where Sam called home. Elizabeth was the culmination of their shared journey, the youngest among 5 siblings, each thread of her existence interwoven with the tapestry of familial bonds. Described as neat, sweet, and bright, Elizabeth emanated an aura of naivety and trust that endeared her to those who knew her. Despite her quiet and sheltered life, she harbored aspirations that spoke of a desire to explore the world beyond the familiar. As she looked toward the future, the prospect of transferring to Texas A&M University in the fall, with dreams of studying marine biology, stood as a pivotal chapter in her young life. This step represented more than just an academic pursuit. It was a leap into independence for a girl who had always stayed close to the comforting embrace of her family. On that fateful Monday, April 25, 1988, Elizabeth attended classes at Central Texas College in Killeen, Texas, a bustling town near Austin. A diligent student, she juggled academic pursuits with a part-time job at a 7-Eleven on Rancier Avenue in Killeen. The routine of her day took a turn as her sister borrowed her car, so she had to find a way home from work when her shift ended. As her shift at the 7-Eleven concluded at 9 p.m., Elizabeth, without her usual mode of transportation, found herself reliant on her boyfriend, Ricky Ray, to pick her up. Ricky picked Elizabeth up after work, steering her towards his residence in Killeen for what was intended to be a study group. Around 10 p.m., the serene evening shattered as an argument erupted between Elizabeth and Ricky. The dispute, a clash of academic priorities, was fueled by Elizabeth's determination to study for a trigonometry test looming the next day, conflicting with Ricky's focus on English. In the aftermath of the argument, Elizabeth, perhaps seeking solace or an escape from the discord, reached out to her parents for a ride home. Yet fate took an unexpected twist when Ricky intervened during the call, offering to provide the transportation Elizabeth sought. However, as the conversation with her parents ended, Ricky's anger simmered, and he chose not to drive Elizabeth after all. Undeterred by the distance that separated her from home, 30 miles to be exact, Elizabeth, armed with her books, seemingly made the decision to walk home. While the specifics remain elusive, there is a belief that Elizabeth secured a ride from Ricky's house to Central Texas College. A fleeting moment in the shadows with no one coming forward to confirm this link in her journey. The night clock ticked on, and at 10:48 p.m., a male student, recognizing Elizabeth from school, offered her a ride as she walked along a service road near Highway 190 and the college. Approximately at 11 p.m., the threads of Elizabeth's journey led her to a 7-Eleven at the crossroads of Highway 190 and Martin Luther King Drive in Copperas Cove. The store, a witness to the events, held a mental snapshot of that pivotal moment. Elizabeth disembarked from a light green Gremlin, accompanied by a man at the wheel, believed to be a Central Texas College student. The scene, bathed in convenience store fluorescence, became a tableau of mystery. Inside the 7-Eleven, the clerk observed Elizabeth as she reached out to Ricky Ray, using the store's phone, her voice carrying a tremor of fear. She confessed that she was a little scared. The connection with Ricky, a lifeline in the night, became a fleeting opportunity for rescue. However, the echoes of their earlier argument reverberated. Ricky, hesitant in the late hour, declined to pick her up, leaving Elizabeth at the intersection of uncertainty. Refusing to succumb to her situation, Elizabeth, resilient in the face of her predicament, informed Ricky of an alternative plan. She would call her brother, seeking refuge in familial bonds. Faced with the prospect of a long-distance call from the store's phone, Elizabeth opted for the solitude of the payphone outside, a decision that would cast a shadow over the remaining hours of that mysterious night. It is believed that standing under the pale glow of the streetlight, Elizabeth reached out not to her brother, as initially planned, but possibly again to her parents. Around midnight, the phone rang in the Campbell household, and Sam Campbell, Elizabeth's mother, would later recount the distant echo of the ring, a fleeting connection that slipped through her fingers as she rushed to answer. The ethereal dance of unanswered calls played out, leaving questions hanging in the night air. The store clerk, a silent observer to this nocturnal drama, witnessed Elizabeth using the payphone and lingering outside after the call. As the minutes ticked by, the clerk's gaze followed Elizabeth's movements outside. A white or silver vehicle, adorned with a maroon vinyl top, materialized in front of the 7-Eleven. The silhouette of Elizabeth merged with the vehicle, and as it departed, it traced a path southward toward Killeen, vanishing into the obscurity of the night. It was a departure that marked the end of tangible sightings, the intersection of Elizabeth Campbell's presence with the unknown forces that awaited her in the darkness. The night swallowed her, leaving the clerk as the last known witness to her journey, an unwitting spectator to the unsolved puzzle that continues to linger over April 25, 1988. The alarm bells of concern resonated the moment Elizabeth's absence became apparent to her family. Neat, sweet, and bright, she was also known for her predictability, making her sudden disappearance all the more bewildering. Tom, her father, noted that it was entirely out of character for Elizabeth not to inform Sam of her whereabouts when away from home. The morning of April 26th marked the dawn of an agonizing realization for the Campbell family. Elizabeth had not returned home, and anxiety cast its long shadow over their quiet abode. In their desperate attempt to report her missing, they encountered bureaucratic hurdles. The police, bound by regulations that dictated a waiting period of 72 hours for adults, turned away their earnest plea for intervention. Confusion compounded their distress as the jurisdictional maze unfolded. Elizabeth, living in Lampasas, was last seen in Killeen and last heard from in Copperas Cove. The boundaries of these towns became blurred in the face of a daughter's disappearance, leaving her family in the throes of uncertainty, grappling not only with the absence of Elizabeth, but also with the bureaucratic labyrinth that hindered their desperate search for answers. In the stillness of those early days without Elizabeth, a quiet town resonated with the unspoken worry of a family torn apart by the inexplicable. Elizabeth Campbell, a bright presence in their lives, remained missing, leaving her family to confront the harrowing unknown with each passing hour. In the aftermath of the 72-hour waiting period, the police initially entertained the notion that Elizabeth had voluntarily vanished due to the altercation with Ricky. However, her parents vehemently disputed this theory, offering compelling evidence that painted a starkly different picture of their daughter's intentions. Elizabeth had left behind a paycheck, untouched bank accounts, and an unused credit card, a trail of fiscal inertia incongruent with the notion of a voluntary disappearance. Moreover, her commitment to academics further contradicted the idea that she would willingly abandon her responsibilities, particularly the impending trigonometry test scheduled for the day after her disappearance. Sergeant Yvonne Parker of the Copperas Cove Police Department, faced with Elizabeth's disappearance, acknowledged the perplexity of such cases, where a responsible individual vanishes seemingly without cause. One ominous theory loomed: the possibility of her kidnapping and murder. However, Tom and Sam steadfastly refused to accept this grim hypothesis, choosing instead to embark on their own relentless investigation. 6 days after Elizabeth's disappearance was officially reported, a flicker of hope illuminated the darkness. Roger Anion, a clerk at a convenience store near Waco, Texas, approximately 85 miles from where she vanished, became an unwitting participant in the unfolding drama. His eyewitness account would cast a lifeline into the uncertainty. According to Roger, a car pulled up to the fuel tank, and a man, accompanied by a young woman matching Elizabeth's description, emerged. The man's hold on her, Roger noted, was peculiar. It transcended the conventional dynamics of a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. The man's hand rested above her wrist, a subtle detail that would later become significant. When Roger attempted to engage with the young woman, the man uttered something in a language unfamiliar to him. Her response suggested a form of subjugation, as if she were being punished for attempting to communicate. As quickly as they arrived, the pair departed, leaving behind a lingering sense of disquiet. Weeks later, Sam, Elizabeth's mother, entered the same store, seeking permission to place a missing persons flyer in the window. It was then that Roger, upon seeing the flyer, made a startling connection. The face staring back at him triggered a realization. He had encountered Elizabeth Campbell with the mysterious man at the fuel tank. The missing persons investigation, propelled by the observant eyes of a convenience store clerk, acquired a new lead, offering a glimmer of hope and renewed determination to uncover the truth behind Elizabeth's disappearance. The threads of Elizabeth Campbell's disappearance wove together in a tapestry of unsettling sightings. 2 miles from where Elizabeth vanished, Sam, her mother, engaged in a conversation with Michelle Christensen, a convenience store clerk in Copperas Cove, whose eyewitness account would add another layer to the unfolding disappearance. As Michelle gazed upon the photographs of Elizabeth, a chilling recognition dawned. She had seen the missing young woman in the store 2 weeks after her disappearance. In this haunting encounter, Elizabeth was accompanied by an Asian man, mirroring the details of the previous sighting near Waco. The man's hold on her, firmly gripping her wrist, echoed the earlier description and intensified the air of unease surrounding their interactions. What stood out to Michelle was the palpable intensity of the man's demeanor. Describing him as having a mean, rough look, she perceived an aura of control that extended beyond conventional dynamics. The man's reluctance for the woman, presumed to be Elizabeth, to engage in conversation added an unsettling layer to the encounter. Michelle found it peculiar, noting that typically, if someone wishes to talk, they will talk. In this case, however, the woman remained silent, as if restrained by an invisible force. The alignment between the two sightings, down to the nuanced details, fueled the certainty in Elizabeth's parents that the young woman in both instances was indeed their daughter. The Asian man, a recurring figure in these encounters, became a focal point in the search for answers. The collaborative efforts of witnesses like Michelle Christensen added a crucial dimension to the investigation, propelling the quest to unravel the mysteries that lingered over the disappearance of Elizabeth Campbell. Michelle Christensen also shared a poignant moment during the encounter with the young woman believed to be Elizabeth. As Michelle handed an ice cream cone to the Asian man accompanying the woman, a brief exchange unfolded. When Michelle remarked to the woman, "You look very sad today," the response was a fleeting acknowledgement. The woman, momentarily meeting Michelle's gaze, seemed to carry the weight of profound sadness. However, her eyes swiftly dropped, evading further connection, leaving Michelle with the impression that the woman was not with the man by choice. Despite the compelling nature of these sightings, local police remained unconvinced that the young woman seen with the Asian man was indeed Elizabeth. However, the unfolding narrative took another turn on July 10, 1988, 2 months after Elizabeth's disappearance, when Virgie Johnson claimed to have encountered her at a gas station in Garland, Texas, approximately 150 miles from where she had vanished. Virgie's recollection painted a vivid picture of a woman who appeared frightened, as if being watched or restricted in her communication. The unspoken tension in the encounter left Virgie with the distinct impression that the woman wanted to convey more than she dared. When Virgie later saw a photograph of Elizabeth, an immediate recognition solidified in her mind. This was the woman she had bumped into at the gas station. A striking detail further heightened Virgie's certainty. When the woman smiled, Virgie noted a distinctive tooth overlap on the right side, a unique feature shared with Elizabeth. This physical resemblance became a pivotal element in Virgie's positive identification of the woman as Elizabeth. The convergence of sightings from Copperas Cove to Garland, each laden with its own peculiarities and unspoken tensions, intensified the urgency of the investigation. The collective testimony of witnesses like Michelle Christensen and Virgie Johnson became a mosaic of clues. pointing towards a young woman entangled in an unwanted kidnapping. The haunting trail of sightings surrounding Elizabeth Campbell's disappearance has led her parents to a disconcerting belief that she is alive, but being held against her will. Their conviction, fueled by the consistent details in the encounters, paints a grim picture of a young woman controlled and unable to exercise her own will or find her way back home. The specter of coercion looms large in their fears, as they contemplate the possibility that Elizabeth may be forced into walking the streets as a prostitute. The desperation in their search has led them to delve into the shadows of the underworld, questioning pimps, prostitutes, and exploring establishments like massage parlors, strip clubs, and modeling studios. Yet their relentless efforts have yielded no trace of their daughter. The police, in turn, have shared a chilling perspective with Tom, Elizabeth's father. They spoke of an underworld pipeline that allegedly supplies Asian prostitutes from Killeen to Dallas and Houston, a shadowy network that deepens the gravity of their concerns. In this distressing journey, the Campbell family has found an ally in Dr. Lois Lee, a sociologist and the founder of Children of the Night. This organization is dedicated to rescuing young people from the clutches of prostitution by providing counseling and facilitating shelter. Dr. Lee's expertise, honed over a decade of working with thousands of young men and women coerced into prostitution, brings a beacon of hope to a family navigating the dark waters of uncertainty. The narrative of Elizabeth Campbell's disappearance unfolds not only as a personal tragedy, but as a stark reflection of the challenges faced by those ensnared in the exploitative world of human trafficking. The quest for answers, driven by the unwavering determination of her parents, takes on a broader significance, a call to confront the darker corners of society, where vulnerable individuals become victims. As the search continues, the hope for Elizabeth's safe return remains, held aloft by the resilience of those who refuse to surrender to the shadows. Dr. Lois Lee's insights into the world of human trafficking and forced prostitution cast a chilling light on the potential plight of Elizabeth Campbell. According to Dr. Lee, the process of abducting someone for the purposes of prostitution involves a systematic stripping away of their identity, replacing it with a new one. In Elizabeth's case, Dr. Lee posits the disturbing possibility that she is being held against her will, subjected to sexual abuse, and exploited for the production of explicit content such as nude pictures or pornography. The gravity of this scenario suggests that Elizabeth may be locked away, shielded from the public eye, with the perpetrators exerting control over every aspect of her existence. The perplexing question arises when considering the sighting of a woman matching Elizabeth's description in Garland. If indeed this was Elizabeth observed alone, why did she not attempt to escape or seek help? Dr. Lee introduces the concept of the invisible leash, employed by abductors or pimps. This psychological manipulation involves presenting the perpetrator as omnipotent, suggesting that everyone is working for them. The illusion of constant surveillance, whether real or fabricated, creates a pervasive sense of control, instilling fear in the victim and inhibiting any attempt to break free. In this sinister dance between captor and captive, the psychological tactics employed serve to reinforce the perception of the captor's reach, dissuading victims from seeking assistance or attempting escape. The dynamics of power and control, as outlined by Dr. Lee, underscore the complexity of Elizabeth's situation and the formidable challenges faced by those attempting to rescue her from the shadows of exploitation. The quest for answers continues, driven by the unwavering determination of those who refuse to accept the silence that has enveloped Elizabeth Campbell's fate. Dr. Lois Lee's grim assessment of Elizabeth Campbell's situation reveals the psychological captivity that often accompanies such cases of human trafficking. Dr. Lee suggests that the consequences of an unsuccessful escape attempt are likely so severe that Elizabeth refrains from trying. The perceived threat, coupled with the isolation imposed by her captors, may explain why Elizabeth has not attempted to make eye contact with anyone or signal for help. The fear of repercussions, including being confined again until she conforms, looms large in her potential decisions. Despite the bleak analysis, Elizabeth's parents, Sam and Tom, stand resolute in their refusal to surrender to despair. Sam clings to the hope that Elizabeth may be suffering from amnesia, blissfully unaware that her family is searching for her. Tom's unwavering determination echoes through his words. They will not cease their efforts until they uncover the truth about their daughter's whereabouts and what has befallen her. In the face of adversity, Tom emphasizes Elizabeth's enduring identity as their daughter, a testament to the unbreakable bond that transcends the horrors she may be enduring. The prospect of Elizabeth being found carries with it the potential for healing and reclaiming her sense of self. Experts believe that, with the love and support of friends and family, she can regain her pride, and rebuild the identity that may have been systematically eroded during her captivity. The resilience of those who refuse to yield to the shadows becomes a beacon of hope as the search for Elizabeth Campbell persists, fueled by love, determination, and an unwavering commitment to bringing her home. If you or anyone else may be in a situation beyond their control and need help, please contact the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 1-888-373-7888. The National Human Trafficking Hotline serves victims and survivors of human trafficking and the anti-trafficking community in the United States. The toll-free hotline is available to answer calls from anywhere in the country, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every day of the year in more than 200 languages.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Fireside Unsolved. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to help the channel grow. Until next time, take it easy and be easy, you filthy bastards.
Welcome to this episode of Fireside Unsolved, where the flickering flames of mystery illuminate the shadows of the Alphabet murders, a chilling saga that still leaves an enduring mark on the cityscape of Rochester, New York. Between the years of 1971 and 1973, this unsolved series of child murders, ominously known as the Alphabet murders, beckons us into a dark realm where the ordinary gives way to the unsettling. Picture the streets of Rochester in the early 1970s, where urban landscapes merge with quiet neighborhoods, and suspense hangs heavy in the air. An elusive predator prowling the streets in the shadows, leaving in its wake a haunting series of unanswered questions. The very fabric of this community was forever altered by the malevolent unknown, as innocence was shattered and a city's sense of security crumbled. Join Fireside Unsolved as we embark on a journey into the heart of darkness, peeling back the layers of a mystery that has eluded resolution for decades. The Alphabet murders, etched in the chronicles of true crime, reveal a sinister force that targeted the most vulnerable population, the children of Rochester. The whispers of their stories echo through time, seeking justice and yearning to unravel the secrets hidden within the folds of the past. Amid the mysterious alleyways and dimly lit corners of Rochester and the surrounding area, Fireside Unsolved will be your guide, delving deep into the maze of clues, interrogating the shadows, and unraveling the chilling narrative that has gripped this city for far too long. So, stoke the fires of curiosity and brace yourself for a journey into the unknown, as we endeavor to shed light on the darkest chapters of Rochester's history, the Alphabet murders. Amidst the foreboding afternoon of November 16, 1971, the thoroughfares of Rochester, New York, became silent witnesses to the enigmatic vanishing act of Carmen Colon, a 10-year-old whose presence mysteriously evaporated into the chilling air. As the clock struck 4:20 p.m., Carmen, following her grandmother's instructions, entered a pharmacy on West Main Street. However, the mundane task took a bewildering turn. Eyewitnesses recounted a peculiar scene. The young girl, after learning that the prescribed medication was not ready, uttered an urgent declaration to the store owner, Jack Corbin. "I gotta go. I gotta go." In a fleeting moment, Carmen exited the pharmacy and was observed entering a car parked nearby. The streets, once unassuming, now held the secrets of Carmen Colon's sudden departure. A departure that marked the beginning of a perplexing journey into the unknown, where shadows concealed the truth and the whispers of witnesses lingered in the chilly November air. Approximately 50 minutes after Carmen Colon's abrupt exit from the pharmacy, scores of motorists, navigating the bustling highway, became unwitting witnesses to a haunting spectacle on Interstate 490. Naked from the waist down, Carmen was seen running desperately from a reversing vehicle believed to be a dark-colored Ford Pinto hatchback. She was reported to be frantically waving her arms and shouting for help. The passing motorists observed Carmen's distress as she attempted to flag down any passing vehicle. Her vulnerability laid bare for all on the interstate to witness. At least one witness later reported the heart-wrenching sight of Carmen being submissively led back to the very vehicle from which she had been trying to flee. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting shadows over the city, the Rochester Police Department was finally notified of her absence at 7:50 p.m., plunging the community into an urgent search for answers. 2 haunting days later, uncertainty lifted to unveil a chilling discovery. 2 teenage boys stumbled upon Carmen Colon's unclothed body in a gully, near the quiet town of Churchville, approximately 12 miles from the last reported sighting of Carmen. Upon further investigation of the crime scene, her coat was discovered in a culvert, approximately 300 feet from where her body was found. Oddly, her trousers were not found until November 30th, on a service road near where she was seen attempting to escape her abductor, witnessed by numerous motorists. An autopsy revealed the brutality of the attack and the injuries inflicted upon this innocent child. Carmen had not only been assaulted, but had also suffered a fractured skull and a damaged vertebra before facing the final act of cruelty, manual strangulation. The scars of her struggle were etched in the extensive scratches left by fingernails, a painful testament to the violence that marred her final moments. The heinous murder of Carmen Colon, and possibly just as unsettling, the fact that no one who witnessed her desperate attempt to flee her abductor alongside Interstate 490 extended a helping hand, sparked a tsunami of public outrage, not just in Rochester, but across the country. The silence of onlookers in the face of her distress became a haunting indictment of humanity's collective failure. In response to this palpable anger, two prominent New York newspapers at the time, the Times-Union and the Democrat and Chronicle, took action. They jointly offered a reward of $2,500, about $19,000 in 2024, for any information leading to the arrest and conviction of Carmen's murderer. This initial sum continued to grow, as numerous local businesses and residents, moved by a shared sense of justice, added private donations to the fund. The collective generosity of the community eventually pushed the reward beyond $6,000, equivalent to around $46,000 in 2024, a testament to the community's fervent desire for resolution. Despite the relentless efforts of the police, who interrogated several suspects in the aftermath of Carmen's murder, all leads ran dry. By December 21st, the number of investigators assigned to the case on a full-time basis dwindled to a mere 3, reflecting the frustrating lack of progress. In early 1972, the city of Rochester was witness to another bold move for justice. 5 colossal billboards, each measuring 30 feet by 12 feet, loomed over major expressways. Adorned with an 8-foot-high picture of Carmen, they posed a simple yet haunting question. Do you know who killed Carmen Colon? The Rochester Outdoor Advertising Company, moved by the urgency of the cause, granted free use of these billboards for a month. Alongside the compelling visuals, the $6,000 reward was prominently displayed, encouraging anyone with information to come forward through a dedicated hotline and postal address established the previous November, shortly after her disappearance. Though this initiative generated several new leads, justice remained elusive, leaving the community in continued anguish, and the billboards standing as somber reminders of an unresolved tragedy. 17 months later, at approximately 5 p.m. on April 2, 1973, 11-year-old Wanda Walkowicz walked into a delicatessen on the east side of Rochester. As recounted by the owner of the delicatessen, Wanda had been tasked to purchase groceries for her family. By approximately 5:15 p.m., she was finished with her purchase and started her solitary walk home on Conkey Avenue. By 8 p.m., Wanda had not returned, and Wanda's mother, Joyce, reported her missing. Promptly, the police initiated an exhaustive search to locate Wanda. Nearly 50 detectives combed through several square miles, including the vicinity of her home, the delicatessen, and areas around the Genesee River where she often played. Despite these efforts, the searches proved fruitless. Some local residents recalled seeing Wanda struggling with a bag of groceries, walking just north of Avenue B. 3 of her classmates specifically remembered her propping the bag against a fence to secure a better grip as a brown vehicle passed by. Regrettably, Walkowicz's fully clothed body was discovered by a police officer at 10:15 a.m. the following day, discarded at the base of a hillside alongside an access road to State Route 104 in Webster, New York, approximately 7 miles from Rochester. The position of her body strongly suggested that she had been thrown from a moving vehicle, tumbling down the embankment. An autopsy brought forth distressing details, revealing that she had been assaulted and then strangled from behind with a ligature, likely a belt. Tragically, defensive wounds on Walkowicz's body indicated a brave struggle against her assailant. Additionally, her body had been redressed posthumously. The autopsy also unveiled traces of fluid and foreign hair on the child's body. Moreover, several strands of white cat fur were discovered on her clothing, despite the fact that the Walkowicz family did not have a pet with fur of this particular color. This mysterious detail added another layer of intrigue to the already tragic circumstances surrounding her untimely murder. Similar to the approach taken in Carmen Colon's case, investigators set up an anonymous telephone hotline and distributed hundreds of flyers throughout Rochester, urging anyone with information to come forward. To intensify efforts, A $10,000 reward, $77,000 in 2024, was offered for information leading to the arrest and conviction of Walkowicz's murderer. These proactive measures by the police bore fruit when an eyewitness came forward. This individual reported having seen Wanda standing beside the passenger door of a large brown vehicle, engaged in conversation with the driver, as she walked home from the delicatessen on the evening of April 2nd. Unfortunately, the eyewitness couldn't provide a clear view of the occupant of the vehicle. Intriguingly, this sighting occurred just 0.2 of a mile from the Walkowicz home, adding a significant piece to the puzzle in the investigation. In another crucial development, an individual who reached out to investigators after the anonymous hotline was established reported witnessing a man forcibly putting a red-haired girl, fitting Walkowicz's description, into a light-colored Dodge Dart on Conkey Avenue between 5:30 p.m. and 6 p.m. on the evening of her disappearance. Despite the mounting evidence and public concern, the Rochester Police Department dismissed any connection between the murders of Cologne and Walkowicz. However, a sheriff's sergeant, originally assigned to investigate Cologne's still open but largely inactive case at the time, was reassigned to the task force dedicated to investigating Walkowicz's murder. In September 1973, the local television network announced plans to air a televised reconstruction of Walkowicz's abduction and the subsequent discovery of her body. A 30-minute episode was broadcast on October 21st, accompanied by public appeals for witnesses to come forward. While this program prompted over 200 calls from the public, unfortunately, no actionable leads were obtained by the Rochester Police Department. The mystery persisted, leaving the community both concerned and frustrated. Tragically, 7 months after Wanda's murder, on the evening of November 26, 1973, 11-year-old Michelle Maenza was reported missing by her mother, Carolyn, when she failed to return home from school. Investigations revealed that Maenza was last seen by her classmates around 3:20 p.m., walking alone towards a shopping plaza near her school. Her intention was to retrieve a purse her mother had left in a store within the plaza earlier that day. Approximately 10 minutes later, a witness observed Maenza sitting in the passenger seat of a beige or tan vehicle speeding on Ackerman Street before turning onto Webster Avenue. Disturbingly, the witness noted that the child appeared to be weeping. At 5:30 p.m. on November 26th, another motorist witnessed a man standing by a large beige or tan vehicle with a flat tire parked along Route 350 in Walworth. The man was holding a girl, strongly believed to be Michelle Maenza, by the wrist. When the motorist stopped to offer assistance, the individual intentionally blocked the view of the license plate and, with a menacing expression, pushed the girl behind him. The motorist, feeling threatened, drove away. Tragically, Maenza's fully clothed body was discovered at 10:30 a.m. on November 28th, lying face down in a ditch alongside a rural road in Macedon, approximately 15 miles from Rochester. The autopsy revealed extensive blunt force trauma to her body, indicating she had been assaulted. Furthermore, she had been strangled to death from behind with a ligature, possibly a thin rope. Disturbingly, numerous strands of white cat fur were found on her clothing, and leaf samples matching the foliage where her body was discovered were recovered from within one of her clenched hands. This suggested she might have been strangled to death at or near the location where she was found. Investigators also retrieved a partial palm print from her neck and traces of foreign bodily fluid on her body and underwear, confirming she had been assaulted by a single individual. The community was left in shock and horror as the search for justice intensified. The investigation into Michelle Maenza's tragic murder took a chilling turn with the analysis of her stomach contents. Traces of a hamburger and onions were discovered, indicating that she had consumed them approximately 1 hour before her untimely death. This finding lent credibility to earlier reports of a girl matching Maenza's description being seen in the company of a Caucasian man with dark hair. The man, aged between 25 and 35, stood approximately 6 feet tall and weighed around 165 pounds. Witness accounts placed the girl and the man at a fast food restaurant in the town of Penfield at around 4:30 p.m. on the afternoon of her disappearance. Subsequently, they were observed together alongside Route 350 approximately 1 hour later. These unsettling details added a disturbing layer to the circumstances surrounding Michelle Maenza's final moments, prompting intensified efforts to identify and apprehend the assailant responsible for this heinous crime. The brutal murders of Carmen Colon, Wanda Walkowicz, and Michelle Maenza stirred intense public outrage, capturing widespread attention. Following the tragic death of Michelle Maenza, investigators took significant steps to identify the perpetrator. They released a composite drawing of the individual seen with the child by numerous witnesses to the media. Additionally, a dedicated telephone hotline was established exclusively for the manhunt, with anonymity and a reward offered for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the suspected perpetrator. Despite generating numerous calls from the public, the efforts did not yield a credible suspect. The exhaustive investigation involved interrogating over 800 potential suspects in connection to the Alphabet murders. However, the perpetrator or perpetrators behind these heinous crimes were never apprehended, leaving the case unsolved. Notably, all three victims came from poor Catholic families, had few friends, and had recently faced challenges such as bullying or poor academic performance at their schools. Investigators have not ruled out the possibility that the murderer may have been employed by or had knowledge of the practices of a social service agency, using this connection to initiate contact with and gain the trust of each victim. The unsettling pattern in the Alphabet murders became more apparent as investigators delved into the details of each case. All three victims, Carmen Colon, Wanda Walkowicz, and Michelle Mainza, were pre-adolescent females who disappeared from Rochester in the early afternoon. Each girl's body was found in nearby towns, either fully clothed or partially clothed, close to an expressway, in locations typically accessible by vehicle. Evidently, each victim had been either thrown from or carried from a car to the location where her body was discarded. All three girls had been assaulted before being strangled to death. The investigation also uncovered peculiar details, such as the analysis of stomach contents revealing that both Walkowicz and Mainza had ingested food shortly before their deaths, which they were not known to have eaten prior to their disappearances. Furthermore, the bodies of both girls had been redressed after death, adding an eerie element to the modus operandi of the perpetrator. Contemporary and current investigators alike have dismissed the possibility that the victims were chosen based on the double initials of their names. They argue that for an offender to pre-select victims for such an incidental reason would likely involve prolonged stalking, increasing the risk of detection. This reasoning leads investigators to believe that the choice of victims was not driven by their initials. Furthermore, some investigators express the belief that while the murders of Walkowicz and Mainza may have been committed by the same individual, the overall MO in the case of Carmen Colon suggests a different scenario. The details surrounding Colon's murder indicate that she may have been killed by someone known to her, possibly even related, rather than by an unknown assailant who abducted her by force. This distinction adds complexity to the investigation and raises questions about the dynamics and motives behind each of these tragic cases. In the case of Carmen Colon, her paternal uncle, Miguel Colon, emerged as a significant suspect in her murder, according to investigators. Following the separation of Carmen's parents, Miguel had formed a relationship with her mother, Guillermina. Typically, Carmen would be accompanied by her grandfather, Felix, when walking to the pharmacy to collect family prescriptions. However, on the day of her disappearance, Carmen pleaded with her grandparents to allow her to walk to the pharmacy unaccompanied. Several weeks before Carmen's abduction and murder, her uncle Miguel had purchased a car that closely matched the description given by eyewitnesses, who observed a vehicle pursuing the child on Interstate 490. Investigators searched Miguel's vehicle shortly after Carmen's murder and discovered that both the interior and exterior had been extensively cleaned. The trunk had been washed with a strong cleaning solution, and questioning the dealership that sold the car revealed that the trunk had not been cleaned with a detergent before the sale. Additionally, a doll belonging to Carmen was found in Miguel's car, although relatives mentioned that she often traveled in Miguel's vehicle and might have left the toy there. Suspicion grew when, 2 days after Carmen's death, Miguel informed a friend of his intention to leave the country, expressing that he had done something wrong in Rochester. He indeed relocated from Rochester to Puerto Rico just 4 days after Carmen's murder. Investigators traveled to San Juan to question Miguel in March 1972, but news articles detailing police intentions led to him fleeing from authorities. He later surrendered, agreeing to be extradited back to Rochester for questioning. Despite strong circumstantial evidence pointing to Miguel's guilt, such as the lack of a credible alibi and his abrupt departure after Carmen's murder, no physical evidence linking him to the crime was found. Miguel Colon tragically took his own life in 1991 at the age of 44, following a domestic violence incident in which he shot and wounded both his wife and his brother. Another individual strongly suspected in the Alphabet murders is Dennis Termini, a 25-year-old Rochester firefighter known as the Garage R-Word, due to his involvement in a series of at least 14 assaults of teenage girls and young women between the years 1971 and 1973. Termini owned a beige vehicle similar in description to the one witnessed by several eyewitnesses during the abductions. Notably, he resided on Bach Street, an address in close proximity to where Michelle Mainza was last seen alive. A chilling incident unfolded 5 weeks after the death of the last Alphabet murders victim. On January 1, 1974, Termini attempted to abduct a teenage girl at gunpoint. His plan was thwarted when the girl refused to stop screaming, prompting him to flee the scene. Shortly after, he successfully abducted another potential victim, leading to a police pursuit. This pursuit ended with Termini committing suicide by shooting himself in the head. In a subsequent forensic examination of Termini's vehicle, traces of white cat fur were discovered on the upholstery. In an attempt to ascertain Termini's involvement in the Alphabet murders, his body was exhumed in January 2007 to obtain a DNA sample. However, the DNA test results revealed that Termini was not responsible for the murder of Wanda Walkowicz. Unfortunately, no physical evidence retrieved from the bodies of Carmen Colon or Michelle Maenza existed at the time for comparison with Termini's DNA, leaving lingering uncertainties surrounding his potential connection to these tragic cases. In April 2011, Joseph Nasso, a 77-year-old individual, was arrested in Reno, Nevada, for the murders of 4 women in California, committed between 1977 and 1994. These victims were believed to be prostitutes, and notably, each had a surname beginning with the same letter as their first name. Nasso, originally from New York, and a former resident of Rochester during the early 1970s, was known to regularly travel between New York and California. Initially considered a person of interest in the Alphabet murders, Nasso underwent DNA testing, which subsequently confirmed that his DNA did not match the samples recovered from the body of Wanda Walkowicz. Joseph Nasso faced trial on June 18, 2013, charged with the murders of the 4 California Alphabet murder victims. After unanimous conviction on August 20, 2013, Nasso was formally sentenced to death on November 22, 2013. While Nasso's arrest and conviction brought justice for the California victims, the connection to the Alphabet murders in Rochester remained inconclusive. The emotional impact of the Alphabet murders on the families involved, such as that of Carmen Colon, is profound and enduring. In 1995, Carmen's mother, Guillermina Colon, made a heartfelt public statement expressing her enduring pain and desire for justice. Despite facing a life marked by poverty, Guillermina emphasized that her ultimate wish was not wealth, but the knowledge of who had murdered her daughter. She conveyed the sentiment, "If I could die knowing who killed my Carmencita, I could die more peacefully than I have lived." In 2009, the Democrat and Chronicle newspaper undertook a series of articles focusing on the ongoing police investigation into the Alphabet murders, appealing for public information to help close the case. This effort resulted in the Rochester Police Department receiving approximately 20 new leads. Despite the pursuit of each lead, none led to the apprehension and conviction of the perpetrator or perpetrators. Nevertheless, a police spokesman affirmed the department's unwavering commitment to solving the case. The community and law enforcement continue to grapple with the unsolved mystery, seeking closure and justice for the victims and their families.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Fireside Unsolved. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to help the channel grow. Until next time, take it easy and be easy, you filthy bastards.